Now when it comes to hunting plots and small plots, it's really hard to beat clover. The reason I say that is a hunting plot is not the true destination plot and holding plot. We call it a holding plot, meaning that deer come out into a big food source and you have enough food on there for the entire hunting season where it holds them till dark, and then you send them off to your neighbors or off the land after that. In this case, we have the neighbors adjoining ag land. So I want deer to hold on our plots. When it comes to a hunting plot though, I want them to pass through it. What does that mean? It means I can't have huge volume of food here where deer just sit here until dark right in front of a stand location. We have an awesome stand location right up here. It's a stand location we actually call the Kermit. We call it the Kermit because I shot Kermit a buck in 2020 right over here. It's a nice 170-inch beautiful buck. Came out here, Dante was filming, died right back there inside of the bow stand. And again, great little hunting plot because we can get in and out of here. We can blow our scent back that direction where the deer don't come from. They typically go through here, come out here, feed, and go out there. In fact, we shortened the food plot back here and turned it into switchgrass so that we could even hunt this stand more and blow our scent over there. Very specific stand location. Again, a pass-through. So clover is a perfect fit. So my favorite time to plant clover is not spring. Now we own a food plot seed company. So I have seed I can burn to some extent, at least in the name of experimentation like I did in the past 25 years ago. I used to experiment a whole lot and write about it. All my research, largely in Michigan out of doors, but largely quality whitetails with the QDMA, now the NDA. So against my better judgment, but again, experimentation, planted clover, chicory, bird's foot trefoil, alfalfa, our premium perennial blend out here this spring. We had rain in early May, meaning one time. We had rain Father's Day, which was around June 18th that time. And then we've had a couple rains since then, and we're near the end of July right now. So this is about what you'd expect. We do have some little bits of clover that happen to germinate, some chicory coming in, a couple little sprigs of alfalfa here and there, and we have some of the oats that we use as a cover crop, but largely it didn't germinate. And that's what happens in the spring a lot of times. Now, I'm actually surprised to see some green here, which tells me that this germinated more later, probably that rain around Father's Day. Because if it would have germinated early, one of my biggest crop fails ever, I had a beautiful clover field coming in the UP of Michigan. Sometime in June, we stopped getting rain. That 3 or 4 inches of clover turned into dust and completely died. And that's what happens if you get early germination in the spring and then you run into drought like we have right now, then everything's gonna die. Now, we have enough in here to where it's sparse. I would say 20%, maybe 30% of what we'd like to see over total volume. So my favorite time to plant is late summer. We're actually planting in about 2 days. Planting clover at this time of the year is beautiful. What you do is that you plant with a cool season annual as a cover crop. I've used brassica extensively in the past. We have a mix, our dual threat 365, that combines clovers and brassicas so that it puts that perfect blend. 4 pounds plants 1/3 of an acre. You plant that out, the clover doesn't compete with the brassica doesn't compete with the clover. The clover establishes its feet down below, gets established in more of the shade of the leaf. The deer eat off the brassica and you're left with pure clover the following year. You can even frost seed in the spring, add a little bit more clover if it seems bare. In this case, we already have this sparse covering, so we're just adding, we already added our dual threat 365 to it. This will grow in the coming days. We're adding plot start to it, fertilizer, hitting it really hard over the next 2 days. And this will be established. We'll have light oats in here. They'll die out over the winter time. The brassica will come in here really strong. That'll die out and be eaten out over the winter time. And then we'll be left with pure clover in the spring. We're planting at a time when the weeds are going to be dying, not thriving as we enter into the fall. And that clover is getting its feet established. The clover is also getting its roots established when moisture is on the increase every day. So from now until November, we'll get increasing rains throughout every month. We get another great shot of moisture in the spring. And then finally, that clover that's established next summer can withstand the most major drought that Mother Nature can throw at it. That's a really good thing. So you'd have beautiful clover and ground cover. And then what we found by putting about 3/4 pound per chicory in with the mix, that's about the perfect blend that I figured out 20, 25 years ago. That's about the perfect amount where it's not too much chicory, because chicory is lower value to deer and attractiveness than clover, bird's foot trefoil, alfalfa. but it acts as a great nurse crop through drought. So what you'd see is a plot that's just pure clover going into a drought during the summer will get more withered, turn a little bit more pale green. In that plot with 3/4 pound of chicory mixed in will give it that lush green look and more volume in the clover because it's being protected by chicory that has a long taproot. And that's why you look around here, we have a lot of chicory growing right now because it doesn't take much moisture for it to send down a taproot and thrive in dry conditions. Well, it's end of July, and I hope most of you by this point in the year have been able to check out our food plot seed company, WHS Wildlife Blends. We've had clients and customers in almost 50 states by now. And the cool thing is, you know, I don't like you to pay shipping if you don't have to. We're not going to have a giant dealer network. That's not the way we are. We built the business on experience and providing good information and quality products. People order it online. But if you live in the southeast Minnesota, southwest Wisconsin area, Nelson Agri Center out of Viroqua and Prairie du Chien is our only dealer in the country. I don't know if that's the way it'll be in the future, but they're very important to us because people in this region can actually travel to them, whether you're in northeast Iowa or northwest Illinois, and pick up that seed without shipping. So give them a call, check them out, and check out the Food Plot Company. Check out the website if you haven't done so already. And I really appreciate you guys giving us a look for your food plot planting needs this season. Now, cool season annual. We're using brassica in this case. You can use oats, wheat, and rye, but you plant at the timing for the cool season annual, not the clover. The clover is just along for the ride in the fall. It's not going to add anything. It's there for spring next year. So if you're planting with oats, wheat, and rye, you're planting that around Labor Day, sometime in September. That's the time for wheat, oats, and rye. That's why you don't mix brassicas, wheats, oat, and rye together to a large degree, because they compete with each other, especially the rye out-competing the brassica, wheat out-competing the brassica. So very important not to mix those two, but you can mix clover with the cereal grains in September, with the brassicas in August. You let the timing of the cool season annual determine when you plant. And again, the clover is just along for the ride. You plant the full boat of clover. In our case, in our perennial plot power, it's 8 pounds per acre. We sell it in 4-pound bags, 24-pound bags. But bottom line is you're planting the full acreage amount because you want that for the following year, and you're planting the full brassica amount because that's not going to outcompete the clover. If you do have rye in the mix, if you do the rye, oats, wheat, or just rye and clover combination in September sometime, you're planting your full boat of rye. I like to layer rye, so 100 pounds early, 100 pounds 3 weeks later, 100 pounds after that. The bottom line is you have to kill, mow, spray the rye out in the spring. I don't let it get, in that case, more than 12, 15 inches. Helps limit the weeds going into spring, but you still have to get rid of the rye or the clover grows up very sparse and thin. It doesn't spread out like you'd like to, and that's not a good thing. You want that clover to be mowed out and established, so you have to get rid of the rye in some matter, whether it's mowing or spraying. And if you're spraying, you spray clethodim. It's a grass-specific herbicide, and it will not kill the clover. I've used that many times over, going back for decades to establish clover. It works really well. So bottom line, great kill plot. That equals clover. It's just a pass-through over to our holding plots right here where we have corn, brassica, and our fall power greens. We just wanted to pass through here. Clover's a great fit. My favorite time to plant is right now, towards the end of July, early August in this area. And we can establish this clover, get its roots down, and get a great stand going into next summer. And hopefully next summer is not this hot and dry. Hopefully you're getting some rain where you're at. I'm hoping that changes for us over the next week because we're planting everything late July. It's the timing to plant. We got to plant, pray for rain, do your rain dances out there, and I hope you have some great little hunting plots like this. Again, perfect time to plant clover, not the springtime, and you'll be rewarded for it just being a little bit patient and wait until this time of the year to plant your clover and create a great hunting plot, kill plot like we have going on here.